The most shocking moment came under the cloak of a moonless night in Makini village. A hunched figure, clutching a plastic bottle of toxic herbicide, crept between the rows of Aminata's thriving young orange saplings. It was Jabari, his city clothes torn, his eyes wild with a bitter brew of envy and rage. "You took everything from me," he whispered to the silent plants, his thumb trembling on the cap. "My life for yours." But as he bent to pour the poison onto the vulnerable roots, a powerful hand seized his wrist. He gasped, looking up not into Aminata's face, but into the furious, disappointed eyes of Uncle Sori, who held a steady walking stick like a weapon. How did the fallen city man become a nighttime vandal in the very soil he once abandoned? To understand this moment of rock-bottom betrayal, we must return to the aftermath of his disgrace. Hi guys, welcome to Echoes of the Baobab Tree. Kindly like, subscribe to the channel and share with your loved ones. 2 months after her triumphant return to Makini, Aminata Kamal's life was blossoming like her new farm. The land she bought with Shakira's money was now a neat, organized plot. She had planted her first 100 orange saplings, installed a solar-powered irrigation pump, and built a small, clean shed for tools. She employed 2 young cousins, paying them fairly and teaching them everything she knew. The villagers no longer whispered about her with pity, but with growing respect. She wore her strength quietly, her smile returning, though her eyes held a new, permanent wisdom. Meanwhile, in a filthy rented room in Freetown's East End, Jabari Toure was sinking. The city that had once been his paradise was now a cold, judgmental prison. Decent jobs evaded him, his reputation as a deceitful opportunist had spread in hushed tones among the drivers and house staff. His pride prevented him from taking manual labor. He spent his last coins on cheap palm wine, stewing in a toxic pool of self-pity. He twisted the narrative in his mind. Aminata had ruined him by showing up, Shakira had been heartless, the world was unfair. The seed of vengeance began to sprout in his spoiled heart. The final push came at a noisy street-side bar. A man from a neighboring village, recognizing Jabari, slapped him on the back. "Hey, Jabari. We hear your Aminata is now a big woman. Oh. Farming project, modern methods. She used that city money well. You must be proud." The man's words, meant as a joke, were like kerosene on a fire. Jabari's mind seized on one phrase, that city money. He convinced himself it was his money, wealth he'd earned by marrying Shakira, wealth Aminata had stolen through her tale of woe. That night, a dark plan solidified in his desperate mind. Jabari used his last resources for a bus ticket back to Makini. He arrived looking like a shadow, gaunt and unkempt. He skulked around the edges of the village, observing Aminata's farm from a distance. He saw her laughing with her workers, saw the healthy green saplings, saw the respect she commanded. Each sight was a needle of jealousy in his skin. He learned from careless chatter at the local shop that Uncle Sori, who often checked on the farm at night, was away visiting his sister in the next village for 2 days. Jabari saw his window. The day of the planned vandalism, Aminata felt a deep, unexplained unease. Her joy in the morning's work was shadowed by a chill. She walked her land, touching each young tree, feeling a mother's protectiveness. Her worker, Kofi, noticed her quietness. "Auntie, is something wrong?" She shook her head, forcing a smile. "Just feeling the weather, Kofi. Maybe a storm is coming." She did not know the storm was a man, hiding in the copse of trees at the far end of her property, watching her every move. As dusk fell, Uncle Sori returned early from his sister's village, brought back by a feeling he couldn't name. "Something is not right," he told his wife. He decided to take his evening walk to Aminata's farm, his trusty walking stick in hand. The night was pitch black, the stars hidden by clouds. He moved silently, a lifetime of village life making his steps sure and quiet. He arrived at the farm's edge just in time to see a dark figure emerge from the trees and kneel among the saplings. Back in her small, newly built house, Aminata was restless. She lit a kerosene lamp and looked at the old photograph of her and Jabari, which she had kept not for love, but as a reminder of the cost of trust. At that very moment, miles away in Freetown, Shakira Johnson was also awake, staring at her own ceiling. She placed a hand on her growing belly, wondering if the father of her child was capable of the goodness she once saw, or if the rot went deeper than she knew. Two women, linked by one man's betrayal, both unaware of the danger unfolding in a dark field. In the field, Uncle Sori's grip was iron on Jabari's wrist. The bottle of herbicide clattered to the ground. Jabari Turai. Sori's voice was a low thunder of disgust. Have you fallen so low? From driver of chiefs to poisoner of the future. Jabari, caught, first struggled, then his defiance crumbled into frantic pleading. Uncle, she has my money. This is all mine. She destroyed me. You destroyed yourself. Sori boomed, shaking him. You poisoned your own soul long before you tried to poison these trees. Sori's heart ached for the boy he once knew, now lost in this twisted man. Uncle Sori marched stumbling, whipping Jabari toward the village center. He did not go to Aminata's house first. Instead, he went to the home of the village elder, pounding on the door in the dead of night. When the elder emerged, Sori presented Jabari. This man, he announced, his voice carrying in the still air, has come to burn down the future of our daughter. He brought poison for her land. Lights began to flick on in nearby huts. A crowd gathered, murmuring with shock and anger. Jabari, exposed under the gathering villagers' gaze, covered his face in shame. The news traveled like wildfire, reaching Aminata just as she blew out her lamp. She stood up, her heart pounding not with fear, but with a fierce, cold resolve. The boy from her memories was truly gone. Now, she would face the man he had become. The confrontation at dawn would change the village forever. The most shocking moment came at dawn in the center of Makini village. Jabari stood encircled by the entire community, his head bowed, hands trembling. Before him, Elder Musa held the bottle of herbicide aloft. You sought to kill not just trees, but the hope of your own people, the elder thundered. Then, he turned to Aminata, who stood tall and calm. The wrong party holds the first justice. What shall be done with him, Aminata? All eyes turned to her. Jabari dared a glance, expecting to see vengeance in her eyes. Instead, he saw a profound, unsettling pity. Her first words were not what anyone expected. Before I speak, I have one question. Jabari, look at me. Her voice, clear as the morning bell, cut through the tension. Why did you really come back? The answer to that question would unravel the final, hidden truth. Flashback to Freetown, 1 week earlier. A determined Shakira Johnson, her pregnancy now visible, sat in her lawyer's office. I want to ensure he cannot ever benefit from my father's estate or my name, she stated firmly. The lawyer slid a document forward. This is a final settlement offer. A small, one-time sum. In signing, he forfeits all future claims and agrees to a legally binding statement of facts about his deception. Shakira's eyes were hard. Send it. Let him sign away his last shred of dignity for a handful of coins. She was closing the door forever, protecting her child from his shadow. Jabari, in his dank room, received the lawyer's letter. The sum offered was insultingly small, but it was money. The document forced him to confess in writing to lying about Aminata and manipulating Shakira. His pride screamed to refuse, but his empty stomach and desperation whispered otherwise. He signed it, his hand shaking with shame. The money arrived the next day. It was this money, the final payment for his betrayal, that he had used for the bus ticket and the poison. The irony was bitter. The last of Shakira's wealth funded his attempt to destroy Aminata's. Back in the village circle, under the rising sun, Jabari confessed this to the crowd. He spoke of the document, the shameful payment, his twisted reasoning. The villagers listened in stunned silence. His crime was no longer just against Aminata, but a profound disrespect to himself and his origins. Elder Musa shook his head in sorrow. You were not driven by hunger for food, but by hunger for a status you never earned. You sold your truth for city coins and came to kill the fruit of honest labor. Aminata listened, her heart heavy. The man before her was empty, a shell of ambition and ego. The love she once felt was now a distant memory, replaced by a clear-eyed understanding. She stepped forward. My justice is not his punishment, she announced. A murmur rippled through the crowd. My justice is the life I have built and will continue to build. I will not let his poison touch my spirit as he tried to touch my land. She turned to the elders. I ask for traditional justice. Let him restore what he sought to damage. Elder Musa conferred with the other elders. Their judgment was wise and severe. Jabari Tureri, you will walk. You will work under the supervision of Uncle Sori and Kofi on Aminata's farm for one full planting season. You will do the hardest labor. You will touch the soil you disdained. Every leon you earn will go to repay the cost of the herbicide and the guards for this land. You will live in your old family house, which has stood empty. You will remember who you are, from the dust up. Jabari, broken, accepted. The first days were a brutal humiliation. Under the watchful eyes of Kofi and the villagers, he hoed, carried water, and weeded. His soft city hands blistered and bled. He walked in silence, feeling the weight of every judgmental gaze. But slowly, something began to shift. The physical exhaustion left no room for his poisonous thoughts. The rhythm of the land, the same rhythm he had fled, started to work on him. One afternoon, as he paused to drink water, he saw Aminata across the field, teaching a group of village children how to graft a sapling. She was patient, kind, and full of light. For the first time, he saw not what he had lost, but what he had willingly thrown away. Weeks turned into months. Jabari worked, paid his debt, and kept to himself. One evening, as he was repairing a fence, Aminata approached. She placed a wrapped bowl of food and a clean shirt on a post nearby. For your work, she said simply, and began to walk away. He called out, his voice rough from disuse. Aminata. I am sorry. Not for getting caught. For everything. From the beginning. She stopped but did not turn around. I know, she said softly. But your apology is to your own soul, not to me. My peace is already made. She walked away, finally, completely free of him. The rainy season ended, and the harvest season began. Aminata's first oranges were ripe, sweet, and abundant. She hosted a small harvest celebration for the whole village. Jabari was not invited, but from his family's hut, he heard the music and laughter. That night, Uncle Sori came to him. Your time here is done. The debt is paid. The elders have spoken. You may go wherever you wish. Jabari knew he could not stay in Makini. The shame was too deep. But the city no longer called to him. He left at dawn with a small bag, heading not west to Freetown, but east, to a new town where he could start as a laborer, anonymous and humble. 1 year later, under the same big mango tree, Aminata sat with Shakira, who was visiting with her healthy baby boy. Shakira had come to see the famous farm and to thank Aminata in person for her unwitting role in revealing a false husband before her child was born. They spoke not of Jabari, but of business, of plans to export Makini's oranges. Aminata's farm was now a cooperative, employing many. As the sun set, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and purples, Aminata looked over her land, buzzing with life. The tree that remembered its roots had not just survived, it had flourished, creating an orchard where many could find shade and sustenance. Her story was no longer one of betrayal, but of becoming. The harvest was abundant, and her heart was full.